The Media Dialogues, Vision 2020.
Hi, I'm Anuradha Sengupta, and on the Media Dialogues, we've been examining the impact of COVID-19 on brand and consumer behavior. Even as many things open up, schools, colleges, religious places, malls, multiplexes, and short places where large numbers of people can gather continue to remain closed across all zones and in all states. Movie theaters and multiplexes were among the first to close and will be among the last to open. As you can imagine, the exhibition business has had a really rough 3 months, and the news of some movies going directly to OTT or streaming platforms has come in as a further blow. To get a sense of what's going on and what an outing at the movies will look like when they do reopen, I'm talking to Ajay Bijli, Chairman and Managing Director of PVR. That's the largest theatre chain in India and employs about 14,000 people today. Ajay, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you for having me over. Thank you.
Domestic flights have resumed this week. What are you looking for to get a sense of when malls and multiplexes can open?
For me, the biggest indicator and the final analysis is really the consumer. I think, of course, everybody has to play a role. And we have a symbiotic relationship with both the film industry as well as the real estate sector. But I think consumer is not designed to stay at home. People, human beings, are the ones who are resilient, and they're going to go out, and they are not created to stay at home and incarcerated like this. So we're seeing a lot of restlessness that people want to go out. They want to engage by meeting each other and in their favorite pastime, which is movie watching. It's been a very long time now since the lockdown has happened. And of course, for the right reasons, we definitely, lives come first. So that's one thing that gives me an overarching sort of belief that we will be opening soon. Having said that, mall operators also depend a lot on large tenants like cinemas.
Sure.
And cinemas attract the footfall. So we are noticing that the mall operators are also supporting us a lot. Kerala has already opened one Lulu mall where we are, but we haven't opened as yet. In the pecking order, all the mall operators are saying that first open retail outlets if you have to, because it has to be staggered opening.
Right.
But along with the restaurants and the food courts, please open cinemas as well. So we're getting an indication that between 15 June to 15 July, in a staggered manner, I think cinemas should open. Some cities are very badly affected. Some states are badly affected. There it could happen a little later, due to which the national releases, which are the Hindi films,
Right,
may get delayed. But I think regions where local content plays well, which is Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada. So Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, all these places may open, Karnataka, of course, may open before the rest of the country does.
Give me a sense of what the last 3 months have been like, because we know that cinema halls and malls were among the first to close, along with colleges. We know on CNBC, which keeps a close watch on the PVR share price, isn't it? What kind of a battering it has taken in the last 3 months. Give me a sense of really what it has been like to run this business when you have screens closed and no revenues.
Well, it's been, happening in a phased manner. First of all, it was a big shock. And suddenly, you see that like 10 pins, all the, states announcing to shut the cinemas. And suddenly you're seeing your revenues turning to zero. I think so. First, it's a hit to the system straight away.
Yes.
Human nature hasn't experienced anything like this. This is completely uncharted territory. So from that point of view, I think we all had to regroup as the top management team and the entire company, plus the board, investors, everybody, and say, oh, what the hell happened here?
Right.
We are shut now completely. So we had to straight away look at our controllable costs and non-controllable costs. I was very happy that my management team, which has been around for about 10, 15 years now, the top management team, people like, Nitin Sood, Pramod Arora, Gautam Datta, Reno, Kamal, the top management team, me and my brother, everybody just got into a group and said, okay, let's take a 50% cut on our remuneration straight away, because this looks like a long haul.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of role people, which are temporary staff, which is housekeeping,
Yes.
security, they had to be asked to leave. So straight away from a number of close to 14 to 15,000, we came down to about 10,000. We looked at all other costs. Obviously, a lot of operating expenditures are related to the cinemas and the units being open.
Yes.
Electricity, water, all that went down anyway. So we looked at the cash that was available, and then we tried to come up match that cash available to see how many months we'll be able to see this through. Luckily, we had done a QIP in December
I think,
of 500 crores. So, and a lot of debt had not been paid down. Because still negotiations were going on with the banks to give the money back. Little did we realize we'll have the same negotiation to get some more money from the banks after some time. Yeah. So we had cash left, but still we had to control all the expenses.
Give me a sense of rent, the rents that you're paying, because you're like anchor tenants in most malls, which cinema halls are or multiplexes are. How has that, what is happening there?
We had force majeure clauses in a lot of agreements. So those people, and everybody was written to, and regardless of whether the force majeure clause was not there or not, but we requested that nothing should be charged during the lockdown period. Some people really responded very positively, and some have obviously shown resistance.
Sure.
But PVR has never had a bad relationship with anybody, and we've never been confrontational. So I think it'll only get resolved through dialogue. So dialogue's already happening. We have about 180 odd developers across the country.
Wow. And, that's a lot of dialogues and a lot of conversations.
So that's why we've been very, very busy, actually, because we've been speaking to everybody. And we also realized that, as I said earlier, that one leg of my business is in the real estate industry and real estate sector. So I don't want to take any posture which is counterproductive to them. And so I think we'll have to figure out ways which makes sense for both. There's a lockdown period situation that needs to be resolved. Sure. Then there's a post-lockdown when we open that needs to be resolved. So I think we are in the middle of negotiating with everybody to give us some relief till March 31st, 2021. I'm pretty optimistic, but 60 to 70% responses have been very, very good.
Positive. Okay. Give me a sense of what your reaction has been to the government packages that have been announced, because interestingly so far, no industry sector has been targeted directly in terms of the relief offered, right? This has been large economy-wide relief that we have seen in all those different tranches that the finance minister has announced. Are you disappointed?
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very disappointing. Because we thought, we do employ a lot of people. The whole industry employs about 400,000 people. We thought maybe some wage subsidies will come, but then I realized that we are in a long list of other industries who are asking the same thing. These are kids working, or educated, at least 10+2, or are in college and all who are working. So it breaks our heart to see them losing their jobs or being furloughed. So that was one. GST deferment we asked for. We asked for some more relief on liquidity, some loans.
Yes.
So we just benchmarked ourselves with certain countries, which the government obviously doesn't like that we are comparing ourselves to other developed countries. But we don't have a choice but to see that our industry, what kind of reliefs they have got. And on those bases only we asked for reliefs, which were, like I said, GST, liquidity, some improvement in liquidity, and wage subsidies. These are the three things which are the main ones that we asked for. And we didn't get anything. So that was disappointing. UK, US, China, all these places have clubbed our industry as being the most badly hit, along with aviation, hospitality. So leisure is very closely associated with the industries which got closed the first and will open the last. So therefore, some more sympathetic view was taken, but that's fine. The government has got a very, very big task ahead of them. India is a massive country. There are a lot of poor people. There are a lot of, so I guess in the priority, those sectors were addressed.
In that pecking order, you're saying that you can understand perhaps why multiplexes haven't, been, your requests as an industry have not been accepted.
Correct. But at the same time, it's incumbent upon me to express my disappointment as well. because we were hoping that somehow a balance could have been achieved,
Sure.
where some industries could also have been, all industries, to be honest with you, also could have been given some relief package. This COVID-19 coming under the ambit of force majeure maybe will help the industry and a lot of other people. But then again, as I said, we need to be very careful because we want our real estate partners to also do well.
And to be able to survive this shock together with everybody else.
Correct. Now the fight is not, people keep comparing it to World War I, World War II and all that. But that time humanity was fighting against each other.
Yeah.
Here humanity is fighting against...
together against the unknown.
Against an unknown. So I think we all have to, I guess, eat the humble pie and become more, understanding and empathetic towards each other, and find solutions that work for both. Nobody can take a very hard posture on anything just not. That's the view that we've taken anyway.
That view that you've taken is reflected even in the public statement that your company made when some film producers took their films directly to OTT, isn't it?
Yeah, look, all the people that I've spoken to, big producers, even smaller producers that I've spoken to, it's very heartening to see that theatrical is still their first love. So they do understand that theatrical business is something that contributes still 60% of their revenues. It sets the benchmark through their word of mouth, through consumer reactions to their movie. It also sets the benchmark to a certain extent of their subsequent sales to OTT platforms and satellite. So I think in a country like India, where the whole thing is larger than life format, the movie watching experience, the way their movies are made, are all larger than life. Therefore, larger than life experience you can only get in the big screen. And I'm not saying it only for nostalgic reasons. I'm also saying it for economic reasons. So when you do release the movie on OTT straight away, and I've got nothing against OTT, I have nothing against producers making money. But I think when you do release it on OTT economically, you also are giving up on your overseas revenues. You're giving up on your music rights. Of course, if the OTT platform is ready to compensate you for all that, then of course.
But having said that, going forward, given the competition among the OTT players, given that they are global giants with deep, deep pockets, do you see them being able to compensate this loss of theatrical revenues in the values that they offer the producer?
I personally don't think so, because they've got deep pockets, because they're also sensible business companies, corporations. That's why the pockets still remain deep. I think it'll be unviable to buy these movies at such high prices, for time immemorial. I think just now they are going to be only buying it because, the producer's expectations also will be that of course, I need to, get compensated. Also, they want new content. New content is not getting filmed also.
Yes, absolutely.
The people are also, tired of watching old content. So I think it's a combination of a lot of factors which have taken which will take the prices high. But these prices in the long run are not sustainable. That's one part. On the creative side as well, and rather I must say that these movies are not seen. They only show trailers, they'll show a script and everything. So I think that's too much of a risk also, to straight away buy a movie without watching it. So I think that's another thing that the theatrical does. You're able to see the film, unless it is made only for OTT. But movies which are even smaller these days, medium-sized, if you look at the last 1 year, movies like Kabir Singh, Uri, Razi, Badhai Ho, Andhadhun, Dream Girl, a lot of Rajkumar Rao, a lot of movies of
Thappad,
Kharana. Lots of these films were actually small, medium-sized movies, which in our parlance is called sleeper hits. They also ended up doing exceedingly well. The budgets may not be big, the star cast is not big, the production values are not big, but yet they fill up the cinemas. They also give money in the pocket of the producers. So I think these are days. There's an aberration going on here. Of all the commercial transactions that are happening, I believe in the long run, people are producers, big producers. When I talk to Rohit Shetty or Akshay Kumar for Suryavanshi, or Kabir Khan for 83, Radhe, and a couple of more producers I've spoken to, Karan himself, all big films are waiting for the cinemas to open. And the water will find its own level. This is really an aberration.
So you say it's an aberration. The business negotiations that have happened during this period, which you call an aberration,
Yeah.
Do you see that going back to a new normal, or what used to be before COVID-19 hit us in our lives, when in the long term, when there is a vaccine and things go back to normal?
Again, nobody can predict. There's a fabulous article
True.
yesterday I read in.
Sorry, I'm trying to make you do a lot of crystal ball gazing
No,
at a time where, no
no,
predictions are
no problem. After
allowed.
reading the New York Times article yesterday, where which says that please don't make predictions
Yeah.
because nobody knows.
Yeah.
So no matter us, so I've become a little careful about what predictions I make because nobody knows. I can
Yeah.
only go by historical data, and what history has taught us is that Spanish flu, the Great Depression, World War I, World War II, all this after recessionary times, cinema going has always bounced back like crazy.
Yeah.
Because amongst and there's a logical reason for it, that the ticket price or the ticket size is still very small of people to get 2.5, 3 hours of escapism.
Yeah.
Okay, of going out and going into this world of make believe and enjoying yourself. As compared to other leisure activities, which unfortunately take a hit. Average ticket price of India is still sub 100. In fact, it's much lesser than if you include the 9,000, total 9,000 screens, 3,500 multiplex screens, 5,500 single screens. So for 3 hours, air conditioning, out of home entertainment for a family of four is still a 500, 600, 700 rupees affair. Even in cinemas and multiplexes in the urban cities, only the weekend prices are people take that as a benchmark and think that's the average ticket price.
And those are really high.
I would obviously like to differ
Yeah.
because because the whole format has changed
Yeah.
for the longest time now, 20, 25 years now.
Yeah.
But I think the average ticket price is still 200 rupees even of PVR. So we are in Aurangabad or Ujjain, Nanded, across the country. We have Monday to Thursday
Sure.
ticket pricing. We have morning to evening ticket
Yes.
pricing. So people only take that lower Parel, Juhu price on the weekend of a peak show
Yes.
and
Yes.
consider that to be whatever. So I believe, I don't want to digress too much.
Sure.
Point I'm trying to make is that recessionary times have shown us that generally speaking, the cinema going is still something which is a low ticket, low hanging fruit. And people go and watch movies and it bounces back.
How worried are you about how Mumbai is coping? Also because it is in these marquee locations and in a city like Mumbai, Delhi, where you see the highest rates that PVR can charge, where you see, the gold class, the reclining beds and all of that, consumers have the wallet and the ability to spend on that. How worried are you about these cities?
I'm worried about Bombay, first of all, as a city rather than just my own business.
Sure.
And having that kind of myopic thought process. So that I really hope these big cities do become okay and comes under control. That's very, very important. Firstly, that's my main thing. As far as my business is concerned, all the surveys are only showing us two things. One, as long as we're taking some safety security measures, okay, which are the norms which you have to do,
right,
and so people feel safe, secure, and staggered seating, which I'll talk about in a minute.
yes,
And as long as it's showing brand new movies, people are ready to come. Okay. Pricing is something because people are taking the perception of those weekend pricing is an issue, but I want people to come back. Okay. We want to come back in throngs. I don't want any impediment in the mind of the consumer at all. Once he's decided to come out. So if pricing has to be tweaked, the Monday to Thursday and Friday to Sunday skew that is there just now. If it has to be made more balanced, we will make it. There is no question about it.
Yeah.
Because for me, only one thing matters, getting people back in the cinemas. But after all the safety security procedures that we have done, protocols we have taken, they are satisfied with, whether it's Arogya Setu, whether it is temperature checking, cleaning, mask, truncated F&B menu, staggered seating, which is the norm all over the world, wherever they're opening now.
I was seeing some of the plans that you all have, and contactless seems to be right up there, right from security. So no frisking, no physical ticket, no physical bill, all of that.
We were, as it is, 70% on online payments anyway. With aggregators like Book My Show, Paytm, and even Amazon, basically, and our own platform. So that was box office was in any case losing its relevance a lot in a lot of markets. Again, if you go down south, A lot of tickets were getting sold online anyway. So I think that was becoming touchless, contactless anyway. I think the big difference that is coming now is at the security point, where instead of having handheld metal detectors, we will have DFMDs, door frame metal detectors, and so that distancing will maintain over there. Temperature checks will happen, and QR codes will be the ones which will allow people to go inside. A food menu, we're keeping it truncated just now so that people don't spend too much time. But we're putting sneeze guards and perspex sheets between the seller and the buyer.
But truncated food menus, we've all heard about how multiplexes, a large proportion of your revenues are not just ticket sales, but also the concessionaire, the food stalls and the Pepsi and the soda and all of that. So is that going to be a problem? And I know you're also going to be selling sanitizers and masks for people who don't have them. So trust multiplexes to come up with another thing to sell at the multiplex.
I mean, it's optional,
Yeah, sure.
Nobody's, the only thing we are asking people to buy is a ticket to come in. Everything is optional.
Sure.
We're just keeping it handy that if you want to buy a PPE kit, it's available. Nobody has to buy it at all. If they've got it at home, they don't need to. But if somebody wants it to replenish, it's available. It's not a money-making thing at all. So I just want to clarify that. And second is that as far as food is concerned, just to reduce the transaction time. So I was thinking that instead of having 200, 300 items that we've got in so many places, why don't we choose the top 12 or 15 highest selling things, truncate the menu, so that again the transaction time gets reduced.
Yeah.
So these are just things to keep in mind that ultimately the maximum amount of time people want to spend is in the auditorium. The rest all are transitional spaces, whether it is the box office, the entry point, and the concession stand. Food and beverage is a very, very important part of the revenue, but that's how the business model is worked. I'm not going to apologize or defend the business model.
Sure.
That's the business model. But at the same time, because of the need of the hour is to ensure transitional spaces, people don't end up spending too much time. So we thought we'll truncate the menu. If we get feedback and people say we want more, then we'll increase the menu. But initially, it's all trial and error at the moment. For me, ultimately, no matter how much confidence I give to the consumers, the confidence to the industry will come only from the consumer. It's the other way around.
Right.
It's not me giving any confidence.
Sure.
So the whole industry depends on the Indian consumer. The great Indian consumption story has to come back.
And I hope it will. All of us are expecting and hoping it will, to keep this giant economy turning. Thank you, Ajay Bijli, very much for talking to us. We wish you all good luck. Stay safe. And good luck to all the people associated with PVR. Hopefully, we'll catch you at a movie next and soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Radha.
Thank you very much for watching. Do stay tuned to CNBC TV 18 for all the news and analysis.
The Media Dialogues, Vision 2020.